Now joining me on the program, one of my favorite football players of all time. He's played for the New England Patriots and the New York Jets, and he was a three-time Super Bowl champion as well as a three-time Pro Bowler. Larry Izzo, Larry's the expert. Zach Gelb here for Shovio.com. Thank you for joining me, and how are you this evening?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Last year you played for the New York Jets. You got to the AFC Championship game, and obviously everyone knows Rex Ryan has a big mouth. He likes to get up to the podium, likes to spice things up. Did Rex pregame antics ever bother you?
No, as after playing for Rex for a year, I know that he's a good football coach, and a lot of the things that happen off the field as far as the commentary is things. He's just having a lot of fun. He's a loose guy. He doesn't really take himself too seriously. I think a lot of ways he likes to take the focus off of his team and then kind of put it on himself in hopes that they can focus on what they got to do.
Now, how different was it going from playing with Bill Belichick and how he's humbled to Rex Ryan? Was there like a learning curve there with dealing with the coaches?
Well, like any change, anytime you go from one system to the next, you have to get adjusted to it. And, certainly there are differences between the two coaches and the two organizations. And then there's some similarities as well. But it wasn't a difficult adjustment for me personally. I found after being in New England for 8 years, which were wonderful years for me and my family, it was a nice experience to go and play down in New York, and I enjoyed my time there as well.
One thing Rex Ryan questioned this week, I should say, was Tom Brady's work ethic. You went up against Tom tons of times in practices and also on the opposing side playing with the Jets last year. Tell me a little bit about Tom and what he brings to the team each and every day.
Well, first off, nobody, and I mean nobody, works harder, not only on the field, but in the meeting rooms, when he goes home, watching tape, you name it. Nobody works harder than Tom Brady. So I know that, and I think that as a teammate, I saw that on a regular basis when you pull into the stadium, during the week, preparing for a game, his car's already there, whether it's 6 a.m. or whatever, and he's the last one to leave as well. So, Rex has not played with Tom, so obviously he can't speak for with that experience, but he's played against him. I think it's obviously pretty clear that, Tom's work ethic is put out there as with the results that he has. Meaning, it's pretty clear the guy prepares because he's the most efficient passer in the NFL these days and probably the best ever. So I know Rex must know that. I think this is another, way of just trying to rock the boat a little bit here and see if the guys in New England take the bait, which is probably unlikely.
You've been in the locker room for a lot of times with the New England Patriots as you played there for 8 seasons and you won 3 Super Bowl championships. And you've been there when guys like Freddie Mitchell or the Pittsburgh Steelers cornerback talk smack. Does that make those players go out there and want to win the game even more? Because, as you said, you really don't see the Patriots players falling for that bait.
Well, to be honest with you, when you're out there on the field, you just try to focus and do what you need to do to execute your job and do your role, and that's, across the board. You can't have, if that's your main goal going in the game is to, make somebody else look bad because they said something, I don't think that you're going to have success in the NFL. So in my time in New England, and I'm sure it's still similar, that's not ever the real focus. Obviously, you read what people say, and you put it in the back of your mind, and then you go out and play, and it always seems that it works out well up there for whenever anybody has, been very outspoken or negative towards the Patriots. But nowadays it seems like every player has a problem with him, so it's not like a big surprise when a guy like Cromartie comes out and says what he did, because it seems it's a weekly basis. Some guy has something to say, and it's all a bunch of talk, but I don't think that really matters in the whole grand scheme of things as far as what the guys up in New England are thinking as they prepare for this game.
We're talking a three-time Super Bowl champion, three-time Pro Bowler, Patriot, and Jets player Larry Izzo. And Larry, how did the Jets game plan differently this time? What else is going on in that locker room to try to prevent a 45-3 loss, which happened last time to the New England Patriots last time these two teams met up?
That's a good question. Obviously I'm not in that locker room or in their meetings, so I wouldn't be able to answer that. I could take a couple wild guesses, but even that would probably be off. But, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I'm anxious to see. Anytime that you come out and you take a beating like that, I'm sure they want to maybe tweak things up a little bit, but a lot of times teams do what they do. And when it push comes to shove, if you're a certain type of team, you got to play to your strengths. So, it could be the same game plan. Maybe they just got to try to execute it better.
Zoltan Mesko, he's a rookie punter for the New England Patriots, the long snapper. He's been in the league for 5 years. This is his first year with the Patriots, and Shane Graham came in halfway through the season. Do you think the inexperience of these guys in the postseason will hurt the Patriots as they as they try to go deep into January and ultimately get to the Super Bowl?
Not at all. I mean, this is now counting preseason for the rookie punter. This is going to be his 21st game. I mean, that's like 2 years of college right there. So I wouldn't anticipate that that's going to be an issue. I mean, he's well coached, obviously, with Scotty O'Brien and with Bill, and then Shane Graham's been around a long time. And they got a good core group of special teams players that have been there. Some are new, but they have a lot of experience at certain key roles, and I don't think that that's going to play a part at all.
Obviously, you were a leader. You played the game with a lot of passion, and that's something I always admire watching you over the years. And I don't want you to get offended with what I'm going to say next. When it came to size, you were a little under average, the ideal size for a National Football League player. Obviously, that's a trend this year with the Patriots, whether it's Danny Woodhead, who's at 5'7", Wes Welker, who's 5'8", Deion Branch at 5'9". How do you think Tom Brady does so well with these receivers and the short running backs compared to last year and early in this season when he had Randy Moss throwing the ball, where it was just basically chuck it up and hopefully Randy comes down with it?
Well, as far as just the height thing, I think I've always felt that the height or lack thereof for certain players is vastly overrated. And although a typical linebacker is 6'3", 250 or whatever, that's probably what they're looking for coming out of college. I don't really think that the height can actually be that advantageous to guys. I've always felt that my height was, for me personally, was an advantage because I had better leverage against some guys that maybe outweighed me. So that was how it affected me. But, with all the other players that you named, they all have their own certain set of skills that, I don't think that height comes into play for them. And compared to Randy, he's a different type of receiver than Wes or Deion. I mean, that's no secret. So, it's obviously they have different strengths. And, Randy is more of a vertical guy, and then Deion has seemed to excel in intermediate routes and things like that. And he's got a great rapport with Tom. So, it's pretty clear that they didn't skip a beat, if not become even more dangerous offensively after that trade.
We're talking to former New England Patriot and former New York Jets player Larry Izzo. Larry won 3 Super Bowl championships with the New England Patriots. And Larry, when the Patriots played the Green Bay Packers this year, Dan Connolly had a wicked return on that special teams play. He brought it all the way down to the 1-yard line. Did you ever have a Dan Connolly moment playing on the special teams? Did you ever get to take one back?
I was in the front line, so usually those swift kicks, my job was to get the hell out of the way. And, there was a couple times, I think in 05 or 04, I fielded like a little slow roller and tried to take that one to the house, but ran into about 10 Kansas City Chiefs that were coming in hot. We didn't have as much space to work with. But, yeah, that was a hell of a play. And Dan, he's a good athlete. I played with him a year, I think. He was there for, I think, my last year. And so, you know, he's a nimble guy, and he's a tough guy. And so, you know, it wasn't I'd like to think that, you know, they did a hell of a job blocking for him, and then he's got some athletic ability that most linemen don't have. And bottom line, I know he was surprised to be running down the sidelines, you know, close to a touchdown, but I can say that, you know, it's something that can't ever happen again. You know, some of those linemen that are back there, Steve Neal did it a lot too. I mean, those guys, once they get a full head of steam, you don't want to be getting, you know, trying to tackle them. You know, you notice a lot of guys trying to go low, and he did the nice stiff arm technique there. So he's been watching film on these running backs for a long time, and I'm sure he picked up a few tricks while he's been doing that.
A few weeks ago, the Jets were playing the Miami Dolphins, and the gunner, Nolan Carroll, was running down the sideline, and Sal Olosi tripped him. And immediately when that happened, there was a lot of speculation that Mike Westhoff instructed the players to build that wall on the sidelines and try to trip the gunner. Obviously, you were under the direction of Westhoff last year. Is there any truth to that rumor?
Absolutely not. That's ridiculous to think that he had any part in that. And, you know, I think that might occur in some ways throughout the league, just in terms of, you know, once you get out of that white, it's a crowded sideline. That's why people have get-back coaches. And, you know, so it's the gunner's job not to get knocked out of bounds, and then it's his responsibility to get back into bounds. And, you know, if he had just kind of run into a Olosi who was standing there, I don't think that people are even talking about this. It just so happens that Sal stuck his knee out, which was obviously an error in judgment that I'm sure he'd like to take back. But getting back to your initial question, no, that was not something I've ever heard Mike instruct anybody to do, nor have I heard that anywhere else in my career. In that case, I think maybe that was just a situation where, you know, there's a gray area in the rule book for players on the sideline, and up until the fact where Sal put his knee out there, they hadn't really broken any rules. So I think it's definitely gotten blown out of proportion. And you hate to see one guy's bad decision affect his long-term career. So hopefully this thing will just kind of go away. It's not that big of a deal. I think a lot of people are getting a little too worked up about, you know, the whole idea of the wall, the Olosi wall.
Big game coming up Sunday, Patriots-Jets. The winner goes to the AFC Conference Championship game. Which team do you see advancing to the AFC Championship game? And give me a score if you can.
Well, I don't know. You know, it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to watching it, and it's going to be very entertaining. Hopefully, as a fan, I can't wait for it. And having, you know, I know players on both sidelines and coaches on both sidelines, so, you know, I'm anxious to see, you know, who steps up and who comes out and gives a winning performance. I'm going to keep my predictions to myself. I haven't had enough time to evaluate the situation. Maybe at some point I will know exactly what I want to say regarding that. But at this point, I'm just comfortable saying I'm excited for the game, as I'm sure you are as well.
Three-time Super Bowl champion, three-time Pro Bowler, Larry Izzo. Larry, thank you so much for coming on the program. And Tiny Jerome from Boston says hello. And thank you for coming on today, and thanks for your time.
Yeah, tell Tiny hello for me too, buddy. Good luck, man. You're doing a great job, and good luck with everything. You sound like you're well on your way to doing this for a career, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Larry Izzo there, former Patriots and Jets linebacker.